Just behind me, beneath the waves off Coronado Island, is one of the neatest mysteries of the Southern California coast. Today I'm here to explore the wreckage of the SS Monte Carlo, which wrecked here in 1937. The SS Monte Carlo was launched in 1921, and it really does have a wild history, beginning with its origins of being built out of concrete. This is because during World War I, steel became a vital asset, and accordingly, President Woodrow Wilson approved the construction of concrete ships. 24 total ships were approved, though only 12 were built by the end of the war. A 13th ship, which would become the Monte Carlo, was under construction in Wilmington, North Carolina. This concrete tanker was completed in 1921 and used by the U.S. Quartermaster Corps for a few years. In 1923, it was purchased by the Associated Oil Company out of San Francisco and was named the McKittrick. Then in 1932, the concrete tanker was sold and renamed the Monte Carlo, the final name of the vessel. As the story goes, the former oil tanker was converted to essentially a party barge, where gambling, prostitution, and drinking was common during the Prohibition years. In 1936, the Monte Carlo headed down the coast near the Coronado Islands in international waters, where it was safe from law enforcement. Though Prohibition had ended in 1933, the Monte Carlo was still part of the lucrative gambling ship Row, which was a fleet of ships that plied the coast of California. Smaller vessels were then used to ferry people from the mainland out to the Monte Carlo. In 1937, while anchored 3 miles off the coast of Coronado Island, the Monte Carlo lost its anchor in a storm. The heavy seas eventually grounded the ship onto the beach. Because of its role in illicit activities, nobody ever came forward to claim the wrecked ship. Today, the SS Monte Carlo remains here on the beach, visible at very low tides. Another interesting story about this ship is that some claim that thousands of dollars worth of silver coins remain in the wreckage. This is quite fitting, as this stretch of beach is known as the Silver Strand. Today we have a somewhat abnormally low tide, which has revealed the wreckage of the SS Monte Carlo, which wrecked here in the winter of 1937. All right, we're gonna see how close we can get to the wreckage. Now, the tide is actually rising right now, and I am certainly not in the appropriate gear or a swimsuit. Not that I would want to go into this water. It is freezing right now. But what's cool is, as the water falls back, I'm gonna step forward and you can see the outline of this awesome concrete tanker. And it's crazy to me that, nearly 100 years ago, this thing lost its anchor, wrecked here on the coast, and it's still sitting here. And as far as I know, there's no plan to actually remove it. But it is neat that you can come here and actually see the wreckage just right off the coast. And of course, the U.S. military, the U.S. Navy has a large presence here on Coronado Island. And I'll just kind of pan around. You do have some hotels and other buildings, which is pretty awesome. Of course, the famous Hotel del Coronado is off in that direction, and we can see Point Loma just there. But we're actually able to get extremely close, and I think when the tide was even lower earlier, trying to back out of the water. I'm sure earlier when it was a little bit lower, you might actually be able to walk right out to it without even essentially getting wet. But, I think I'm close enough, kind of get the full scope of the length of the ship from all the way back there. It looks like I see a bit that would have been on the ship, and there's even some wreckage a little bit further back there, so I'm not sure how much has broken off over the years. And here we're going to get a beautiful sunset on Coronado Island. The wreckage of the SS Monte Carlo is one of the cooler things I've seen. You know, it's such a popular beach over here on Coronado, this whole stretch. So to think that they just left this giant piece of concrete essentially sitting here for, you know, almost 100 years, it's kind of wild, but it is cool to actually get to see it here at low tide. I've been kind of planning this for a few weeks because the tide's here. You know, obviously it goes in and out, comes up and down, but you don't often get a tide this low. So it's cool to be able to come out, actually see this wreckage, explore it a little bit, and bring you some of the history. But that's going to be it for this one. Now it's on to the next journey.